Kanab, Utah. And the red rocks indicative of the area. I can't see what I'm filming, so forgive me. And across the street over there is Kane Community Hospital, of which I am not impressed with. Anyway, hopefully the wind's not picking up enough to where it blots it out. So anyway, I show up there about 11 o'clock yesterday. And I sat out in the parking lot for about an hour because I couldn't move. So finally, somebody sees me sitting out there and they come over and ask me if I need any help. And I'm like, yeah. So they finally got somebody to come out with a wheelchair and wheel me in. So anyway, I go in there, and one thing I cannot stand are know-it-all doctors who fail to realize that you know your body pretty well. And I ended up having to tell the guy like 4 or 5 times that I'd been through this 4 or 5 times before. And I knew what was going on. He says, well, I'm not showing this, I'm not showing that, I'm not showing anything, da-da-da. I'm like, well, I don't really care what you're showing. I know what's going on. I've been through this before, a time or 2, or 3 or 4 or 5. So anyway, they finally, he decides to give me the IV, and I hadn't been able to eat anything for about 2 weeks. It's like I'd take like a bite or 2 of something, and I couldn't keep it down. It's like, and I knew why, So, I'm trying to tell him what's going on. Well, anyway, they gave me the Lasix, and it starts, getting rid of a lot of the water. And all of a sudden I have an appetite again. And I was actually able to eat meals. Like I scarfed it down. So anyway, long story short, or short story long, one of the two. I'm in there, and he's like, well, I just don't see any reason to keep you. And it's like, well, let me know what you're going to do. So if I have to line up a motel, I can do that. Don't wait too late. So then he comes in and tells me, well, we're going to go ahead and keep you overnight, but you're going to have to stay in here because we don't have any rooms. It's like, fine, whatever. As long as I have a bed and place to sleep, I'm fine. So time passes. Finally, they come in about, it was like 11:39, I think it was, at night. Come in at 11:39 at night, and they're saying that they decided that they weren't going to keep me after all, that they were going to discharge me. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Do you realize it's almost midnight? I am not going to be able to line up a motel. And I was pissed. I was like, no, you guys aren't gonna do this to me. No, that's BS, man. That's crap. So anyway, we go round and round, and I'm like, look, I'm not a local. I don't have a home to go to here, and so you're going to have to figure out something because you can't just like toss me out on the street. And so anyway, they finally found another room in their triage unit or whatever it was, and there was a bed in there. Although I didn't get a wink of sleep last night, not even 30 seconds of sleep. So I ended up getting a motel here in Kanab because I was going to drive to Beaver, Utah today, but as tired as I've been, it's like there's no way I was going to chance it on these mountain roads because it's pretty windy roads going up there. It's like, no, I just I don't trust myself staying awake, especially that one incident I had, that one day, I don't remember whatever was driving into her, my eyes were closing. It's like, no, I'm not going to chance that again. So I figured I'd just kind of hang out here today, which has been kind of nice. It's a nice little town. But, I just, I don't know. I didn't well, see. The problem was, too. The reason that I didn't get any sleep was because they didn't give me any meds at all. Normally I have my evening meds, which includes my Repinerol for my restless legs. And so my legs just jumped all night. Every time I'd try to relax and start to, try to drop off, my legs would kick. Couldn't go to sleep, so I didn't get a minute's sleep. So finally, about 6 this morning, they let me go, and I went straight over to McDonald's and got some coffee. Because man, I was like, so yeah. So I'm gonna stay here tonight and drive to Beaver tomorrow. It's gonna put me a day behind and have to spend an extra funds on another motel room, but it's not worth taking the chance of falling asleep at the wheel. So I'll get a good night's sleep tonight, hopefully. Then tomorrow, drive up there, and yeah. So yeah, I wasn't too impressed with this here. It was compared to the other hospitals that I've been in, it was pretty Mickey Mouse. But at least they, give me my Lasix, and so I was able to get, the water weight off and stuff. And that was the main thing because I do feel a lot better today than by far. At least I'm able to get up and walk around and move around. And I'm not huffing and puffing every step of the way. Like I said, I was in such bad shape I couldn't even walk in from the vehicle. I had to have them bring a wheelchair out to wheel me in. Like I said, I sat out there for an hour. I'm like halfway hanging out in the vehicle, thinking hopefully somebody noticed I might need some help since I'm in the parking lot of an emergency room. And finally, one lady, she wasn't even an employee. She was someone that came there and then she goes, well, I saw you there when I pulled in. You're still in the same position, so I figured you might need some help. And I'm like, yeah, you would be right. So, yeah. Here comes the wind. It actually feels pretty good, though, honestly. If I was trying to cook, it would be so fun. Just sitting here. It's fairly warm today. It's like right around 80 degrees. So the wind actually feels pretty good. So anyway, like I said, I'm in Kanab, Utah. It really is a pretty area. It's nice. It's a nice little town. It really is, other than the hospital. Yeah, if I was here, I'd be like, take my ass to Salt Lake or Phoenix because I ain't dealing with this crap. So, anyway, I don't want this to be a long, drawn out video because I was so tired. I don't have much of a voice. But at least the water weight, because I was able to get quite a bit. They did an afternoon dose and an evening dose, and so I was able to get quite a bit of fluid off my body, and that just really helped. But he didn't seem to believe me. It's like I'm telling him, dude, I've been through this before. I know what's going on. And he's arguing with me, and so finally, because I told him, he asked me if I've been able to eat, and I said, no, I take like a bite or two or something, and I either couldn't keep it down or just, couldn't eat anymore. So then, like, they brought dinner, and it was a good dinner, too. I'd say they had pretty good food. Had turkey and dressing and mashed potatoes and gravy and cranberry sauce, and it was a good meal, man. I scarfed it down big time. And then they brought me some other snacks, and I gobbled all that down too. So it's like, because I told him, I said I got appetite again. Then when I told him that, he's kind of like, well, maybe you're right. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Told him, I said, dude, like I told you, man, this ain't my first rodeo with this crap. I know what I'm talking about. That's why I really appreciate doctors that listen to you, and that realize that you have some common sense and you know your body and you know what you're talking about, regardless of what they're seeing in the X-rays or whatever, And it's like, well, you took chest X-rays. Well, yeah, chest X-ray is not going to show anything. The food's in the stomach. It's not in the chest. Which, that's, if it had been a cardiologist that was doing it, it would have been a different deal. But, yeah, I got a lot of people on scooters and kids on bikes. They're at the park. They got that skate park, bike park type of thing. There's some kids earlier jumping with their bikes and stuff, but I've been staying up close to here because they got bathrooms. so yeah. So I got about another hour and a half or so till I can check into my motel. So I've just kind of been hanging out here, because it's a nice area for one. Plus two, like I said, it's got bathrooms. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Not much else. Excuse me. Not much else to tell, but this is a nice little town. I wouldn't mind living in a place like this, except I'd probably be the only one here who isn't Mormon. So, yeah, they were actually pretty rude to me last night. I wasn't very happy with them. But they don't need to see me anymore after last night, so hell with them. At least I'm to the point where I can function again. That's the important thing. All right, folks. We shall talk to you later.